Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WCPoets.com and another edition of our Alumni Feature Friday segment. I'm Lance Franney, Associate Athletic Director for Communications, and joining me today is Aubrey Baran, former women's soccer player. Aubrey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no, it's great to talk to you. How has quarantine been for you and your family?
Luckily, we've all stayed pretty healthy. I've stayed busy virtually. I did student teaching this past fall with some first graders and seventh graders. I've been volunteering online through Zoom in an organization in Whittier that's pretty close to me, something that I was kind of doing before the pandemic. And also just finishing up my master's this summer. I've been taking classes all of quarantine online. So I've been staying busy, but at home.
Yeah. Now, are you in touch with some of your former teammates?
I stay in close contact with a handful, but I think the most contact I have is through social media, which is especially great during this pandemic, getting to see the big things that my teammates are still doing, and especially a lot of the graduates, where they're going, if they're in school, if they have careers, what their families look like. So social media has been really helpful in this time to be able to keep track of everyone and see the great things everyone's doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, you graduated back in 2019. You're currently in the last year of the graduate program, working on your master's thesis. You've been a graduate teaching fellow for me within sports information. But how have you enjoyed the program so far?
Both programs, being working for athletics and also just the education program, have been awesome. Obviously, that like halfway into my first year, there was that big shift to online. But when I was working with athletics in person, I learned so much. I got to work on so many sports and I met so many people. So I am disappointed that we had to take that break off, but I've still got to be involved. And also with the education program, the professors did so great shifting to online. I'm working on a really exciting master's thesis. I'll be finishing up this summer. So I'm kind of eager to dive into that, do some online research, and hopefully have my own classroom this upcoming fall.
Okay, and what will your master's thesis be on?
My master's thesis is going to focus on Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence and how you can teach to all students' strengths in the classroom. So that's something I don't think we see enough of in like elementary schools right now, which I think will really benefit young children. So that's what I'm working on expanding these next few months.
Okay, great. Now, talking about the soccer side of things, you're a four-year letter winner for us. You're a local player from La Mirada. Talk to me about your experience attending Whittier College and having your family be able to support you during your 4 years.
When I was looking at schools, I knew I liked the idea of getting to branch out, but also having my family close. They were part of my soccer career my entire life since I started when I was 3 years old. So getting to have them at all my games those 4 years, and also getting to have them at that final senior night game was a really important experience for me because they were on that journey with me. So that was something I knew I was looking for in a school, and Whittier was perfect in terms of location. And just being a part of a small school, I got to be a student athlete, but I also had a chance to get involved all over campus, which was another criteria of schools I was looking for. So I was really excited to have found that, and I had an awesome 4 years getting to experience that.
Now, during your 4 years, you were coached by both Monica Gerardo and then Derek Hanks, two completely opposite coaches in their coaching styles. But how was it transitioning between both coaching styles? Monica Gerardo, big offensive scorer, Notre Dame. Then you've got Derek Hanks, Cal State Northridge, defensive-minded coach.
So I would say, of course, Monica was an incredible coach, and we had such an incredible run from – she taught me so much about being a forward and what that should look like on the field. And those 3 years built up to my junior year when we won that SCIAC title. And that was a great way to end her coaching career at Whittier also. And then that transition with Derek Hanks, spring after we won the title, we actually went as a team to Spain, and he was able to come along with us. So I think that really helped build like the team and coach camaraderie, gave us a time to bond. And then just switching to that coaching style, it was my last year. I was enjoying it with my teammates. I was always more of a defensive forward anyway, so I kind of liked seeing the other side of it. But it was new, as anything would be, shifting coaching styles. And Derek was coming from a D1 coaching program. But overall, I think it was made pretty smoothly, and I know the team will continue to build once we get back. So I'm excited to see what big things he brings to the program after this quarantine.
Of course. Now, you did have a great career at Whittier College. You were a part of that team in 2017 that earned that berth into the SCIAC tournament as the number 4 seed. You then ended up beating both Cal Lutheran and Pomona-Pitzer, who were both ranked ahead of you, to clinch a spot into the Division III National Championships. Talk to me about that experience.
That experience was amazing. I love that underdog story, like coming in, I think barely made it to the top 4. And I think even more than the championship game sometimes, that Cal-Lu game, we were playing that first place team. They had very few goals, very few losses, and we were able to pull off some amazing goals that just brought our team so close. That felt like we were winning the championship already. And then we were able to carry that momentum to win the SCIAC title against Pomona. And then just the experience of going to nationals. Those teams were the teams we saw and teams we played. It was an incredible team, but we were able to experience that together for the first time, and that was one of the highs of college, was getting to not only be that student athlete, but getting to have that experience that not a lot of student athletes do get to have.
Of course, and during your time at Whittier, you've traveled internationally. You've won a postseason tournament, earned a berth into the national championships. You played in 67 games over your career. You had a goal and an assist, but you were primarily used, like you were saying, as a forward/defender, a defensive forward. You're a physical player, but do you ever look back at what you and your team have achieved?
I do think about it. I do. And I'm at that point, I've been out for about 2 years, and I am missing soccer. I'm looking for some ways to play some pickup or just get back out there in a fun way. Okay. But obviously think back on that SCIAC win, but even more just reflecting on those early mornings and late nights that in the moment were really difficult to balance with being a student athlete and getting to those classes and those early morning practices. But now those are the things that I realized really helped make that college career, shaped me into the adult I am, and missing those like glory days in a sense of just the experiences I was able to have from that, reflecting on that.
Now at Whittier, you were busy. You're a student athlete, balancing your academics and athletics. You were a member of PASALA, you're a community advisor, and you're an admissions tour guide / ambassador. How did you do all of it and balance everything?
So I knew going to Whittier that I committed first as a student athlete, but I knew I wanted to be involved in more. And that small school that Whittier provides, that gave me the opportunity to branch out, to pick up one job and then the next, and then volunteer and start clubs while also getting to be on the field, play that game, be close to my team. So I knew that's what I was looking for, and I was so glad I was able to find that at Whittier. So I think it was all about time management, and just I wanted it. I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could in those 4 years so that I could figure out what I wanted to do with my career after soccer was over. But having those athletics in addition were such a bonus, getting to continue playing that sport I loved while growing into a professional throughout college.
Of course. Now, the last question I have for you today is, are there any words of advice that you can offer athletes who are currently attending Whittier College, and maybe some insight to future recruits who are looking at Whittier College and wanting to become poets but might be on the fence?
Something that I always said when I was giving tours or working for admissions, when I would speak to potential student athletes, was that coming in, it's not that you're only going to be a player for that team and that would be all you would do in college. You get to be a student athlete. That can be your outlet. It's a sport you love, obviously, if you're pursuing it through college, but to get involved in a lot. So make sure you're committed to that sport in your school, but that if you're looking to meet new people and branch out and learn more about yourself, that Whittier is that place, but you also get to play that sport that you love. So to get as involved as possible, because Whittier can provide that for you. So I always encourage that, like, take chances, do things you typically wouldn't, and you're going to learn so much about yourself, and you can be a student athlete during that process.
Well, Aubrey, that's all the time I have with you for today. I really want to thank you for hopping on with me for our Alumni Feature Friday segment. Good luck with your master's thesis coming up. I can't wait to actually read all about the different intelligences. So that's really interesting to me. But again, continue to stay safe during COVID, and hopefully we'll be able to see you on campus here soon.
Great. Thank you, Lance.